Easy guys, welcome back to Chaz's No BS Reptile Advice, episode 35. Really pleased with the reception that they've had. We're regularly getting 300, 400 views an episode, which is great. Couldn't be happier. Our own little community working together, answering the questions, people posting and joining in. It's for you guys. We're never going to be a huge channel, but that was never the purpose. The purpose was to try and help those that wanted to be helped. Obviously, we're doing it from my car or wherever I find myself when I do these episodes. Self-promotion isn't a primary concern, more just sort of spreading knowledge. I've been asked this question that I'm going to try and answer today, attempt to answer today. A few times, put it off, but I mean, I'm not the best guy to answer this. But I'll give it a go. So there's a proposed ban, or there's the potential of a proposed ban on Lamprepeltis getula californiae, which is the California king snake. The California king snake is a subspecies of Lamprepeltis getulus, which is the eastern chain king. So, as far as I'm aware, the proposal, or some people have made some point about it being Lamprepeltis getulus, that's been highlighted as being an issue by the Spanish regarding the Canary Islands and the population over there, that no doubt will be laying waste to birds, mammals and reptiles that are native. Thus meaning that they've gone to Brussels to request or propose this ban on Lamprepeltis getula. The issue is, because we're still part of the EU, currently anyway, and we have to abide by their laws for, 24 months, the worry is that this law or ban will be passed prior to us being outside the purview of the EU, and therefore there could be a ban on Lamprepeltis getulus. Okay, so how likely do I think it is? What do I think is going to be the upturn of this? Blah, blah, blah. Right. I swore that I wouldn't go into politics, but I'll just dip my toe in it. Certain people and certain organisations, jobs exist solely on the basis that the sky is falling. Chicken Little style, And unless the sky is falling, their job security looks shaky. So there always has to be a battle to fight. There always has to be a war to fight. And I was reading posts where, Mr. Newman's on about armed response going to licence inspections, all this shite. And then we were at the West Midlands Herpetological Society show, and it was no shop can get 4 or 5 star license. The only shops or areas that can do it will be ourselves at Hadlow or Pets at Home. It's all bollocks. One of my closest friends, Darren at Crystal Palace Reptiles, has just got a 5-star license. A load of shit. So, unfortunately, they've got their egg on the face there. I think it's going to be exactly the same with this king snake crap. So if I think about, maybe behind royal pythons, corn snakes, what's the next most popular group? Cali, Florida kings, eastern chains, Mexican blacks are hugely popular, all this sort of stuff. So if I then think roughly, spitball a figure, 15, 20,000 getula kings, I think I'm probably being really conservative with that number, considering like 12 years ago there was 5 million reptiles in 1 million homes, so I may have seriously under-egged that. But when I think about the priorities of government currently, whether it be Brexit, whether it be whatever, the backstop and Northern Irish border, do I consider an innocuous, non-venomous, non-invasive species for us to be a huge issue? No. Do I think it will be a law that they'll follow up with tooth and nail and hammer and go after it? No. I remember a few years back there was supposed to be this ban on European species, and everybody had to prove, that the grandparents were captive bred and blah, 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 and we needed this paperwork, that paperwork. Never came to anything. Never came to anything. And, you know, you can still get your leopard snakes, your Aesculapians, your four lines, all that sort of gear. Has the law gone away? No, I don't think it has. Does anybody care? No, I don't think they do. So whilst I'm not telling anybody to break the law, or whether I think you should all be quaking in your boots and shivering with fear, I don't think that either. I just think it will be a non-event. It'll come and go. Nobody will be asked. Nobody will chase it up. Nobody will be bothered. You're reliant on councils being organised enough to even deal with or investigate the presence of king snakes on lists. You know, local borough councils have got enough on. They're stretched to the limit. They've had their budgets cut mercilessly by this government. And then you're going to say, oh, right, for all you pet shop licence inspectors, you need to go and investigate every one of your shops that sells reptiles and see if they've got any of these snakes in. Now, what you've got to bear in mind is none of the council inspectors are forced to have any specialist knowledge on reptiles whatsoever. So at which point they could walk in and go, oh, no, it's a mamba. No, it's a cobra. No, it's a rattlesnake. You could tell them it's anything and there would be no challenge. So at which point, it's just a moot point. I think that for the private keeper, there's no effect whatsoever. You're going to end up with something called grandfather rights, which means you can keep it for the remainder of its natural life anyway. I think that they can review the laws every 5 years, so at which point you could then breed them subsequently after that. So I really wouldn't panic. I think that the sky is falling. Nobody can get a 5-star license. Nobody can keep king snakes. Everybody needs their European animals to be this, that and the other. Just, it's more of the same. More of the sky is falling. Panic, panic, panic. What are we going to do? Think of the children. And it's just perfectly expected from the people who we have in charge of this hobby. It's disingenuous. Yeah, potentially it's happening. Is it going to be the big deal that they think it is? No. You know, is everybody who's got a Californian king or has got a Florida king in their private collection or a Mexican black king got to run out and declare it like, you know, V from Vendetta, or like, you know, some sort of Nazi youth where you're reporting your next door neighbour for having a king? No. No, just sit on it. Who's going to follow it up? Who's going to do anything about it? No one. Apart from us, the hobbyists, the traders, the wholesalers, who really gives a shit that you've got a king snake in a private collection in a back bedroom in Rotherham or Barnsley? No one. No one's going to care. And as long as you're not a divvy and you don't go shouting it from the rooftops, no one's really going to make a fuss about it either. It will be a non-event that passes off with nothing said about it. So, you know, I can't understand the way that people always, they literally run around with their hair on fire. And you just think to yourself, this was all hyperbole, all of it. This AAL has proven to be essentially a non-event. No shop can get a 4 or 5-star license. But the shop's getting 4 and 5-star licenses now. Moreover, the shop's getting 4 and 5-star licenses without the intervention or training of the local council officials by the Hadlow National Centre for Reptile Welfare. So unless they want to then pursue councils to say to them, you shouldn't have given a 4 or 5-star license, at which point they undermine the very shops that they purport to be there to protect, which would be underhand and just incomprehensibly gross. They've missed the boat. It's just another in a long line of cock-ups and wasted money. So yeah, those training opportunities been and gone. The councils couldn't wait. You know, bearing in mind, as far as I'm aware, they're either not licensed or they've only just been licensed themselves at Hadlow. So at which point, you know, how were they supposed to actually train any of the councils in something they're not even licensed in yet themselves. All of the existing licensees, myself included, have had to be inspected. The councils have had to try and be as organised as they can be, so they've organised alternative training arrangements. My council's been to 2 courses in Rotherham, taken by a veterinary surgeon, not a 55, 60-year-old ex-reptile importer. So at which point, you know, I think that it's an exercise in bureaucracy. As long as the shops are proving themselves to be willing to capitulate to the needs of the bureaucracy, and that their husbandry is clean and their animals are well maintained, and that, you know, that they have their infrastructure in place, why should they not get a 4 or 5 star license? If they meet the caging requirements, the sizing requirements, well, of course. But to have spoken to the organisations that run our hobby, the very people that are, you know, really drilling on this king snake disaster, fiasco, the world's going to end, actually there's nothing to suggest that it's going to be any different or any more of a non-event than the AAL, than the European ban on exotics. You know, but I guarantee in 6 months, a year, there'll be another catastrophe, another sky is falling moment, where these guys will have to jump on their white steeds and ride into battle to save all of our souls. Because without it, why are they there? Why do we pay them?